What's up, everybody? Welcome to the first recorded episode visually of the Nerdy Birdie podcast. I'm happy to have you all watch the episode visually for once. I don't know that it'll be a constant thing. It'll be probably more of a companion to the podcast, but you never know until you do a trial by error type of a deal. So as you can tell, this episode is centered around Stranger Things, my absolute favorite show. An entire wall of my goddamn living room is dedicated to it. I am totally obsessed, and I can't wait to review the new comic book series that just came out on September 26th with you. So that's exciting. And just to kick off the show, just to give you a couple of announcements, Nerdy Birdie will have some new merch coming out this month. Super exciting. I have a set of buttons coming out that you can buy individually or in a pack. You can pre-order them before the 16th, or you at a way lower price than I will have after the actual initial launch. It won't be terribly more expensive, but I do want to give an opportunity to order them early at a much lower price for people that are really into buying podcast merch. I think they're really cool, and you can see the designs on Instagram and Facebook right now. I'm just so bad about updating the Twitter. Twitter at least knows there's merch, but they don't know what it looks like. So definitely take a look at those if that's something you would be interested in for sure. And as you know, with this episode, it's also a mukbong or a mukbang, whatever. There's two different words for it. I don't really know which one's correct, but we're gonna do that today. And of course, since it's Stranger Things, what better to have than Eggo waffles? And I'm so dumb. I was in such a rush to do this episode because I'm so excited and things just keep getting in the way. I didn't even get butter or anything like that, which I guess works because 11 eats them practically frozen in certain episodes when she's lost in the woods. So I guess that works. But we at least have butter flavored syrup. And surprisingly, the little store by my house didn't have milk, which is really weird. So the closest thing I could find, because I don't know about you guys, but I can't really eat pancakes or waffles without milk. It just feels wrong to drink it, to eat it with orange juice. So the next best thing I could find was Hershey's cookies and cream flavored milk. It says milkshake. I think it's just extra sugary milk, I suppose. So I guess we're gonna have that with our Eggo waffles, and I think that's kind of appropriate actually, because if you're a Stranger Things fan, you know in season 2 there's a scene where Hopper and 11 are eating Eggos together, but it's covered in whipped cream and Reese's Pieces, and I can't eat Reese's Pieces, so we're not doing that particular part of the mukbang, but I think this will supply the extra sugar factor when having the waffles during this review. And of course, since it's October, I thought it'd be appropriate to light our Hocus Pocus black flame candle on this channel together, so let's all die. I hope because I keep looking back and forth between cameras, so I hope when I'm talking that it doesn't look ridiculous. I hope I don't look like I'm looking like this at the different angles. But here we go. Huh? I don't know. I like all things dark and Halloween, so frankly everything you're seeing right now as far as my skeleton glasses and my psychic looking tablecloth and these little skeleton candles and Stranger Things, this is me all year round. So I'm the embodiment of that Halloween superstore in Los Angeles that's just always open, always selling creepy things. That's kind of me. Although it's very confusing, I think, to some of my friends, because there are days where I am very girly. A lot of my things are pink, like my lighter, but it just depends on my mood. I'm either really femme goth or I'm just really girly, but always with green hair. So who knows? But let's get this mukbang started before we start talking about the review and just get it all set up with this cookies and cream milk, I say loosely. It's fucking brown, which I am genuinely surprised by because I thought it was, because I saw that they had chocolate and strawberry like milkshake drinks, so I assumed that this white ass looking one would be like a vanilla type thing, so it'd be white, right? But no, look at this. It's fucking, it's basically chocolate milk, or at least it looks like it. So I guess I don't know what I was expecting, but not that, I guess. And here we have the waffles with our butter flavored syrup, which I've never had because I like to have, I want my butter, I want my carbs, I want my shit. So I guess I don't even eat waffles like this. Like, I don't ever just glaze it on with syrup like this. I'm a dip my syrup gal, but for aesthetics, we'll do it the wrong way. In my world, it's the wrong way. So we have that. Let's get this shit done. All right, so it's not like we don't know what Eggos taste like, but just for the whole experience, we'll indulge. See, this is why. This is why I don't do that, but because I eat with my hands when it comes to waffles. It's good though. So good. Now that is interesting because I assumed it was gonna be like Oreo milk, which it kind of is, but it also just tastes like a straight up Yoo-hoo. Like, if you like, Yoo-hoos are those kind of they're sort of those retro little chocolate milk boxes that like don't need to be refrigerated or whatever, something like that. But to that effect, I'm sure like if you haven't had it, you at least know what it looks like. They're just those yellow little boxes that say Yoo-hoo in blue. Sometimes they come in those like chody ass bottles at the gas station or whatever. They're really good. Like, I do like them. It's not my favorite chocolate milk, but it's good. So I feel like this is just the Hershey's ripoff of Yoo-hoos. But it's good. I don't hate this. Would I have this with breakfast? Only if I'm eating a breakfast burger. That's about it. Okay. I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. This is why I hate getting syrup on my fingers, but it's mukbang life, I suppose. The things you sacrifice for entertainment. I'm laughing because Eggos are such a childhood nostalgia thing. It's like a 90s kid staple. Or, you know, technically 80s, since it is featured in Stranger Things, and that takes place in 1984, 1983, around there. And like, I didn't even eat these that much growing up, because it was like I wasn't like poor, but like I didn't have a whole bunch of those things all the time like other kids did, which is fine, character building. But I've certainly eaten these a lot more, far more as an adult than I ever did as a kid, and I don't know how to feel about that. I mean, no regrets, hashtag they're delicious. I would never suggest not eating these. To be fair, like, you know, in a strange way, I honestly kind of prefer these over like bougier waffles a lot of the time, and I just think this, and it's mostly because of the crunch factor. There are so many places around me, because I'm a tower girl in Fresno, and there's a lot of places around here, or not a lot, but there's a couple of places that sell waffles here, and they're gorgeous. They have like homemade like fruit spreads and things like that, and they're great, but I don't like my waffles to be soft. You know, I want that fucking crunch. So again, this is what I want. Yes, bitch. Alright, enough of that. The whole show is not going to be about me eating. It could be, but it's not. The real reason we're all here is for the big reveal of which variant cover I got of the Stranger Things new comic book series, and of course, what I think about it. So, without further ado, and I'm sure some of you probably could guess, and you might be right, the cover of the Stranger Things issue 1 variant that I got is this one. So, this is the first issue of the Stranger Things comics released by Dark Horse, one of my favorite companies, and many others. But this is it. My fingers aren't that sticky, so I feel okay with taking this out. So I want you to be able to get kind of a glimpse of it. I got my copy on September 26th when it was released, or no, I didn't. I pre-ordered it and I had to wait an extra week to get it. So I got mine just this past Wednesday, which of course was when I originally was going to record this, but I was too tired. I got home really late from work, so that's why it didn't happen sooner. But here we are on my day off. Isn't that great? Anyways, so this is the cover of the one I got. I chose this cover because honestly, I just really thought it was the most beautiful. I think we're getting kind of a glare, so let me hold it up a little bit more so you can see. But yeah, I thought this was the most compelling cover art that I saw, and because I'm a big fan of combining fantasy with realism, so I like that it obviously looks like them, but you can tell it's a drawing. So I really love that aspect of it, and the back cover, of course, shows Will's bike toppled over in Mirkwood with a little Demogorgon in the background. So I thought that was really charming, and all of the cover art, all of their variants are beautiful. I just happen to like this one the best. I'm gonna do my best to get all of them the second I get paid again. But yes, my goal is to have all of the issues. There are to be 4 installments of this series in total, as dictated right here in the corner. I hope they do more, just because I want to see more of an exploration of, back, because I just want to see a little bit more. But this is the cover. The interior artwork is quite different, which happens because a lot of cases the person who will do the cover art will not do the interior art. That happens a lot in the comic book world. So, which was, it's almost always the case, not always, but most of the time that is the case. And I was hoping that, whoever did this art also did the interior. They didn't, but that's not to say that I hated it. So I guess just to give you a tidbit, a taste, if you will, of what we're looking at in the interior, here is just a little bit of what we're looking at. It's far less detailed than the cover art, but that's to be expected. A lot of interior comic book art is simplistic, so that's not an issue. And if you saw my short blip on heart-shaped, what is it? Oh god, I'm already forgetting. I think it's heart-shaped box, or I want to get up and go get it, but there's another graphic novel I reviewed on my Instagram, where I reviewed a graphic novel that had really interesting cover art, and I typically sneak peek the interior before I buy them when it's in person, just to get a feel of what it looks like. And I did not like the style of the interior art, but I bought it anyways because I wanted to give it a chance, and it was one of the best stories I've read in the last couple of years. So check that out on my Instagram. It's definitely there. I don't know why I'm forgetting the title of it right now. I keep wanting to say Heart-Shaped Box, but I know that's a song rather than the title of a graphic novel. It's super similar, but I really love that series. We won't go into it right now, but yes, the point being that the interior art is far more simplistic than the art for the cover. And I'm not like in love with the interior art, but that doesn't always matter if it's well written. Which brings me to the next point, how is the story? And I didn't hate it. I'll just say I didn't hate it, but I also didn't love it. And the reason why is because the premise of this comic book series is basically an exploration of what was going on while Will Byers was stuck in the Upside Down. Now, if you're watching this and you don't have any understanding of what Stranger Things is, there's going to be a lot of spoilers in this episode, so you should probably stop watching right now. Or you probably should have stopped watching early on. But basically, the premise of Stranger Things, the show, at least in season 1, is the disappearance of Will Byers, who's a young boy that, you know, he's a nerdy little artistic boy who hangs out with his friends playing Dungeons and Dragons, and he leaves his friend's house one night, and he ends up being followed and, you know, chased by some mysterious alien-like creature, and then 1 second he's gone and we don't know where he is. And the whole first season is basically trying to find Will Byers because he disappears without a trace. And this comic book series, and as you know, if you do watch Stranger Things, we know by now that he ended up being in a parallel scary version of our world, which is called the Upside Down, or rather that's what the characters are calling it. So the series explores what was going on with Will while he was in the Upside Down in season 1, whilst everyone else was searching for him in the real world. And I like the idea of that, certainly. But my issue, at least with this first story, is that nothing happens in this story that you couldn't easily guess. There was nothing that was shocking about what was going on. And I'm trying to be lenient because this is only the first installment. I hope that 2, 3, and 4 will be a lot more in depth and a lot more imaginative in what happens and how it's told. Because a lot of the narration is very cliche. A lot of the writing I feel like I've seen in numerous graphic novels when it's like a poor attempt at trying to be deep, you know? It's like when your dumb friend is trying to sound smart. That's kind of how I felt about the style in which the narration was written. There was nothing for the reader to piece together for themselves. There was nothing, because for me, what makes like story good is when a reader doesn't quite know where it's going to go. That's how a good story should be, where you're not sure what's going to happen, but everything felt spoon-fed. You know what I mean? Like there was nothing mysterious about Will falling into the Upside Down early on. Like, yes, we know that it does, and to be fair, it's paralleling episode 1 of the first season, but you would hope for just a little bit more. And we did get one little facet that was interesting. The best part of this first story was Will running around in Mirkwood, and which is, of course, the kid's name for a certain street. It's not really a place in Lord of the Rings. They just happen to be Lord of the Rings fans. And while he is running around, he catches a glimpse of Eleven while she's on the run from Hawkins' lab, and they see each other. So there's an explanation right away as to why Eleven knows about Will when we're watching the actual series. And that part I thought was a good tie-in. I thought that was interesting because they don't get to talk, but they see each other. And she's not able to really do anything because she disappears. And I also like that they're showing that Will can hear everybody searching for him, like calling out his name, but he can't see them and they can't see him. So he can just hear the voices, but he's unable to say, "Here I am, here I am." So I thought that that was a nice touch as well. So there are redeemable factors in this first issue. I just hope that it gets a little bit more interesting, and I know that it's hard to do, or it can be hard to do with so much hype, and it is only the first issue, of course, so you can't put everything in a first issue. However, there are plenty of other stories that, you know, get the job done with one issue. So I have a lot of high expectations for this going forward. I don't hate it. Again, as I said, I'm still gonna buy all the variant covers. I'm still going to, you know, invest myself in the next of the next three series or issues of this limited series. I don't know if they're gonna go past issue 4. I haven't looked into it quite yet, but I'm hoping that they do. I want to see them do more than just what was going on with Will. I would love to see like a side series about 11, perhaps even the reporter that we, not the reporter, but the investigator from season 2 that we got to meet. The one that, of course, encourages Jonathan and Nancy to, you know, I would love to see more backstory on him. And I hear rumors that we will in season 3 regardless, but I hope that they keep up a trend with some exploration of characters from various seasons as we go on. Albeit, I hope they choose, you know, ones where it makes sense, because I don't think we need to know everything about everyone. But while we're waiting for like 10 years for season 3, I am enjoying the fact that we have some new content to enjoy that's canon to the Stranger Things universe. So if you're not a Stranger Things fan already, I definitely encourage you to check out the show itself. It is amazing in every capacity. It's not a kids show, despite the fact that there are kids in it. So if people like me can enjoy it, certainly anyone of any age can. It's certainly suitable for children that are the same age as these kids, or, you know, well older than they are. There's certainly something for everyone, and of course the music pairing is so good, so good. It's not even that they're just good songs, that they're just excellently paired with certain moments and just certain scenes, and I just think it's so expertly crafted by people that understand the genre, the time period, and just how to combine element of the things they love most into something that other people will love too. So if you are an 80s or 90s baby and you love that music, and you're a big fan of Stephen King or Steven Spielberg, any of those types of movies or shows, or like even Goosebumps for that matter, just that type of vibe, you will love Stranger Things. I promise you will love Stranger Things. So that is all I have for you in this particular episode. If you like it, give me a thumbs up, a share, what have you. Encourage your friends to follow the Nerdy Birdie podcast on iTunes and SoundCloud. And I'm gonna get out of here and drink a little bit more of this weird cookies and cream Hershey's milkshake, not milk drink. And I'll see y'all on the flip side. So, bye!